All right. Well, welcome everybody. I want to just say that I appreciate you taking the time to be in here and watch this video. I am super excited. And yes, you're here for the number one growth factor for your business. And I think that this is going to be really powerful for you. I think it's going to show you some things that maybe you haven't thought of, or maybe you thought of, but you haven't realized how much of an impact it could have on your business versus the traditional things that we tend to focus on. Okay. So let me start off by asking this though. What does every business owner want? What do you want? Right? And I would assume that you want money would be one of those things, right? We want to have profitability in our business, I would assume. All right. We want to see some results, right? We want to see when we come to work every day, we want to see people getting things done. We want to say, we have a project, we want to see it get to the end. We don't want to see things just being left undone. So we want to see results. Results feel good. When something gets completed, there's just a sense of, yeah, okay, that worked the way it should have. We want to see growth, right? We want to see the company built up, right? The reality is as we get into this as business owners, generally we want to build something of significance. And so that's definitely something that typically we're looking for as well. A happy team. There's nothing worse than coming into a negative work environment. Unfortunately, a lot of business owners I work with, or when I start working with them, that is a lot of what they're experiencing. At the same time, on the other side, right, it's amazing to come to a place where, every time you went into work, it just rocked, right? It just work every day just felt good. It was energetic. It was positive. And I'm not talking perfection. Obviously, things can go wrong, but just in general, there was a really good vibe and a really good team and people working together in unity. That's awesome. And as a business owner, there's almost nothing better. A lot of times the struggles in business can really be, I guess, shrunk, if you will, if you're having that type of experience with people. The other thing too that I think is really important that a lot of people talk about is balance, right? My guess is you didn't get into owning your business to work an 80-hour, work week and have nothing else going on in your life besides your business. The reality is that most of us as business owners, we get into business and we have this picture of getting to a place where we have balance, right? Where we're not working those 80 hours, we're not wearing 20 hats, right? But instead, right, we're to a point where we're successful, right? And so our business is giving us freedom. It's supporting the other things that we love, the other things that we're passionate about, whether it be family or travel or just other hobbies you have. That's what we're looking for, and that's super important as a business owner as well. So what do you want? I would assume that that list is a pretty good starting point, right? You want some results from what's happening there. You want some growth. You want to build something of significance. You want a happy team, right? You want balance in your life. You want to be able to spend time and do the things that you want to do. And then ultimately, yes, you want profitability. I think it's a pretty good list a lot of times for a lot of business owners. There may be some other things in there for you, but you get the basic idea. Now, the important thing in here is that these things don't come just because we talk about them or we tell people to do them. Hey, we need more results. Hey, we need to grow. Hey, you guys need to be happy today, right? We need to make more money. Like, it doesn't matter if you talk about these things. And that's what's really important. That's what can be frustrating for people is none of these things are a matter of talking about it, right? But I mean, imagine being in a place where you had all this stuff going on, where you were getting results, where you were seeing this growth and building something of significance, where there was peace and happiness and energy, right, in your workplace, where you had balance, and you were profitable. You saw that profit kind of increasing. It'd be pretty awesome. But again, it doesn't happen because we talk about those things. So today we want to think about what really impacts our bottom line the most, so we know what to focus on, since it's not these things themselves. So what it really comes down to is, how do we get these things? So the question then is, what impacts our bottom line and our growth the most? Now, there's a lot of things that people will go to when we start asking this question. There's a lot of things that we naturally go to as business owners just because they're so like front line that you just can't help but think about them. So things that people bring up, things like marketing. Your market, like, that is the most important thing, right? Marketing is important, but it's not the most important thing. Okay. Quality product and service, super important, but not the most important thing. It is not a differentiator. The reality is in every business these days, there's going to be people who have a quality product and service, and that is not what's going to differentiate you. Your sales. Hey, listen, every company's talking about sales. Every company's coming up with great methods. That's not going to be your differentiator. Is it important that you have a good and clear sales method? Absolutely. But it's not the differentiator. It's not the thing that's going to take you above and beyond. It's not the thing that's really going to grow your business. Knowing your numbers, finances, super important, and something that often a lot of times, especially small business owners, really struggle with, and it is important. But these things, although they're super, super important, they alone will not get you the growth that you're looking for. You've probably already tried a lot of these things, right? You've been trying to learn about marketing. You've been trying to push your sales team. You've been working at this stuff. Okay, so if it's not those things, well then what is it? Well, I'm going to suggest that it's productivity. I'm not going to suggest. I'm going to tell you that I know with certainty that it's productivity. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing some business coaching now for at least 10 years. I have my own business doing this, and it is 100% productivity. Now, we're not talking about personal productivity, but we're talking about team or business productivity. See, the thing you need to understand is that when your team is productive, it leads to all those other things that we were talking about getting stronger, right? Marketing and sales and your product, all that stuff. It gets better because your team is more productive, right? Most people are going to think about productivity as how much can I get done in a certain amount of time, and that's accurate, right? Because we can't increase time, but we can increase output. However, it's important that we also see productivity as quality as well. So we're talking about an increase in quantity and quality of what we do within a certain time, okay? Because again, as I said earlier, all of those things, marketing, sales, those things in and of themselves, they're not going to get it done. If your people are not productive, it doesn't matter how good your marketing strategy is. It doesn't matter what new sales method you're trying to employ. If you don't have productivity, it all dies. However, the opposite is true. When you have productive people, all that stuff's going to take off. So if your productivity increases, you're going to experience growth. Your bottom line is going to grow. It's really that simple. Well, sort of, right? Because this is where most people go wrong. They start telling their employees that they need to be more productive, right? So they're not talking about market. There's, okay, we got to be more productive. We got to be more productive, right? And they tell them to do exactly what we said, but it doesn't work that way, right? You don't bark orders at someone and tell someone to increase their output. That doesn't do anything, and often actually that backfires. So what we need to do is we need to look at the components of what makes your team productive. Now, this is essential because productivity is the #1 growth factor for your business. And if that's not in place, you're feeling that right now. Very confident of that. The reality is productivity is king. Michael Mankins once said, adopting a productivity mindset can be challenging, but the payoff is enormous. Our research suggests that the best companies are more than 40% more productive than the rest. Again, in other words, that's the differentiator, right? And this difference in productivity results in significantly higher profits. Operating margins 30 to 50% higher than industry peers and faster growth. Productivity is king. Productivity is the thing that's going to differentiate you. Productivity is the thing that's going to take you to that next level, because I'm confident that you're here because things aren't where you want them to be. And that doesn't magically change, right? There's some work involved. And the reality is productivity can be that thing that's going to help you get where you're looking to go. Now, I love this quote, how he says that productivity he talks about productivity mindset, right? In other words, this isn't like a 1-month goal where you just like, okay, we're going to implement productivity today, and then it just like does its thing, right? It's a mindset. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes focus. You really want to build this into the DNA of your business. Now, that's why I built my Crazy Productive program, because business owners, they absolutely 100% need this. Now we'll get into that more a little bit later, but first let me slow down a little, which is hard. I know I talk kind of quick. I get excited about this stuff, but let me introduce myself. So yes, I am Bob Ellis. Here's some pictures of my family. Love family. Family's my thing. So in the middle up top here, this is us at the Cape. We go to the Cape every summer. I'm from Massachusetts, so I apologize for those of you who don't like New Englanders. We're not as bad as you might think. No, I love living in Massachusetts to a degree, except for in the middle of the winter. Yeah, so up at the top left and right there, you got me with my son and my wife and my daughter, my wife Lisa, my kids Ariana and Caleb. That's actually a picture taken in our new favorite restaurant, Upland. Amazing restaurant. I think there's two of them. There might be three. I don't know. There's one in South Beach, Miami, and there's one in New York. This is in South Beach, Miami. And we're definitely foodies. We love hitting nice places and eating some good food. And then just another picture of my son and daughter. We love to travel. We love the water, those kinds of things. And then so over to the left here, that is a picture actually of my youth group in my church. I'm actually very involved in my church. I help out with the youth group, love doing that. I'm really kind of a big kid at heart. So I have a lot of fun with them. This is us at a camp that we went to. Top right there, I do coach soccer. I'm actually the varsity coach at our local high school. I love doing that. And then bottom right is actually a picture of me. Yes, I came in first place. That I do not look like that anymore. That's probably about 6-7 years ago or so. But I do train in mixed martial arts. I love doing that. Do it less now than I did in this picture. I have some injuries I'm kind of working through, and I've been working through for the last 3 or 4 years. Unfortunately, that's caused me to put on some weight, and I'm working on that though. All right, but yeah, so that's just a little bit about me, and then obviously probably already, but I have my own business, Potential. And really, I'm just focused on helping business owners and businesses grow. I love helping business owners kind of get out of their own way and just really build really business that they're looking to build, and also with that build kind of that life. I mean, as you saw in there, I love to travel, love doing a lot of different things, and so I created a business that allows me to do that, and I love to help other people do the same thing. So that's just a little bit about me personally, but I did start that coaching business about 10 years ago. It's been great. Again, I love helping business owners. It's something that just, again, I'm passionate about. It's kind of just in me. Now, this passion and experience, it's led me to build that program that I've already mentioned, Crazy Productive. This Crazy Productive program, in many ways, is kind of an amalgamation of everything that I've been learning over the years that I've been working with business owners. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you basically the content of that for free, like the basic content. Now, I'm not going to have time to obviously dive deep into the content, but I'm going to give you all the components. Now, I might not be able to get through all the components in this first video because, again, I don't like these to be too long. So I will, however, I will make sure I get you all that content. All right, I will get you the other components. I think we're going to cover 4 today, likely, and I'll get you a couple other videos that'll give you the other components as well. Okay. Now, this quote here: "A business without a productive team is a business that is shrinking rather than growing. It's a business with an owner that's frustrated, tired, sad, uncertain, and maybe worse. Not focusing on your productivity is like forgetting to breathe. You won't last long." Now, when I read this, it saddens me because I know that a lot of business owners are in this place, and you may be in this place. And I don't know to what degree. Again, everyone on this call, everyone watching this video is probably to one degree or another in this place. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be here watching this video. And it's gonna be different for each one of you. So for some of you, maybe it's really extreme and you're barely making it, you struggle, like you got to turn some things around. Maybe for some of you, you're doing okay, right? But you realize that, yeah, you're definitely missing some things. There's some frustrations and you got to do some work. So either way, I'd obviously love to help you out. And, again, I'm passionate about helping business owners grow. I would assume that you want to grow. And so we can certainly chat about that later. But let me kind of jump into this content a little bit more and we can kind of circle back around to that. So this right here is my productivity circle. Original name, right? That's a circle. Anyways, so the way this productivity circle works is at the beginning, at the middle here, basically it talks about the happy team, results, growth. You could put the money in there in terms of profitability. That's what we're looking to get, okay? So it works from the outside in. So on the outside, you have core values and you have vision, okay? So kind of some foundational stuff, and we'll get into some of that. And then as we get into the inside, we have communication, we have time management, team, which means kind of team development, delegation, conflict resolution, boundaries, balance, systems. And systems and processes, I'll use those words kind of interchangeably. But the point is as we do these things, it's going to lead to that bottom line result that we're looking for. It is going to increase productivity, which will increase our bottom line. Okay. So the point is that you're not telling people to get more productive. You're creating an environment for productivity so that this naturally happens on its own. Now, it's 100% more work than just telling people to get more productive, right? Telling people, hey, get more productive versus focusing on all these 10 different things. Obviously, that's more work. However, I'm pretty sure you understand that telling them is going to do very little, or again, often do the opposite, right? However, taking a methodical approach and literally building the DNA of your business in such a way that people will naturally be more productive is 100% worth the effort. Because as you put this in place, your business has become that self-running, growth-producing, bottom-line growing machine that you've been looking for, right? I mean, picture that, right? Picture, like, just as you look at this, right? Imagine all those things just kind of going like a well-oiled machine. People are going to be jazzed, right? To be coming to work, right? They're going to feel like they're part of something. They're going to feel like you care, that they are part of it. The communication is going to be solid. You're not going to be wearing 1,000 hats. There's going to be clarity and consistency. Right now, imagine the energy, enthusiasm. Now that's going to lead to productivity, which leads to an increase in the amount and quality of the work that's done each day, which will grow your bottom line while also making you feel really good about your business and life. That's really what it comes down to. And here's the deal. This is straightforward. There's no way anyone can look at this like, oh no, that won't make a difference, right? It does. And unfortunately, these are often the things that business owners are not focusing enough time on. A lot of times it's because they don't know how to. And a lot of times it's because we just go to those frontline things that we think we need to do. This is essential if you want to build a solid business that's growing and that's increasing in profitability. All right, so let's jump into a couple of these here. So first one, vision. And vision is an interesting thing because there tends to be two responses when I talk about vision. First, you have one group of people who they're like, oh, this is like that ooey gooey stuff, unicorns and rainbows, this is a waste of time. And I get where you're coming from, and I think I understand why people sometimes feel that way, okay? But we're going to talk about that in a minute. And then there's the other side where you're jazzed, like, yeah, vision, man, I love dreaming and thinking big things and all that type of stuff. And I find that a lot of people are in kind of one of those two categories. I tend to be a little bit more towards the visionary side, to be honest, but learn to balance that a little bit, but we'll get into that. So both sides, I think, kind of have their issues. So the kind of people that are frustrated with vision and like, oh, let's ignore that. The problem is when you don't have vision, you don't know where you're going, right? It's clear as day, right? You have to know, okay, here's where I am, here's where I want to go. You don't have that, you're going to get lost. You're going to start doing, you're going to work really hard in your business, and you're going to get some things done, but you're going to hit ceilings on a regular basis because you're going to get caught up working in your business rather than on your business. Because if you don't have a vision, you're not looking towards the future, you're not looking to grow, and that can be a major problem. Now, on the other side, people that look at vision as like, yes, this is awesome, I love this, and it's just you, is you can get lost in there, right? You can get lost in the clouds, which is why a lot of people respond negatively to this, right? You can get lost up there. You can start dreaming and then never stop dreaming, and then you don't get anything done. Now that's an extreme, but you got to be really careful if you're a visionary to not keep going back to that. You're going to have a tendency, right? You're going to chase after a million different things. You're going to try things too quickly because you're going to give up on other things because, oh, maybe it could be done better this way. You're just always thinking about the next thing, the big thing, how can we do this versus getting things done. So you got to be careful with that. So my point is that there's a balance in there. And I know for me, I've had to work really hard to find that balance, but it is important. Now, again, vision is important, again, because you're really defining your destination, right? So here's point A, this is where I am, and here's point G, that's where I'm looking to go. You don't have that, you have no direction, right? So when we don't have that in place, we're just lost, right, as a business owner. But then the people in our business, leaders, anything in our business, they don't really know where you're going either, right? So just this feeling of kind of staying in the same place, and that's not a good thing. So do you have a vision? Right? Just be honest. Do you have a vision? A lot of you probably don't. A lot of you might be like, oh, well, I kind of thought about this, 5 years ago or whatever, right? But you have an active, living, healthy vision. And not only that, but does your team know about it? Does your team know that vision? Does they know at least the pieces of the vision? If not, something that you're going to want to think about doing, okay? So let me show you a few steps to making your vision. First, you want to think about where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years. It's not an exact science, but that's general guide. And then you want to think about every area of risk, including your role in the business. So you're just going to go through the different areas of your business. And you're going to think, about, okay, what is that going to look like in 3 to 5 years? Be specific. Talk about your revenue. Talk about your profit. Talk about the size of your business, size of your team. Do you want to expand into different areas or different locations, space? Meaning like what type of building you have or whatever. Get into details, right? And just think about that, right? Because the more real we make it, the more exciting it gets, and that can drive us to kind of take some steps. It's not that this is going to be exactly where you'll end up necessarily, but it gives us a picture of where we're looking to head, right? And I would encourage you to get uncomfortable, right? The reality is you should not know how to get there or have the capacity to get there right now, and that can be really uncomfortable. We tend to like the known, but it's really good to put yourself in a place where you have a vision that's bigger than basically where you are right now. If you know how to do it, then and you can already do it today, then what's the point, right? You want to stretch yourself, you want to grow yourself, so kind of get uncomfortable in there. And then I would encourage you to make a personal vision as well, because I really do think, and I think you've already gotten this from me, is I think it's super important that you have balance in this. Because the reality is, if you're not happy in life, if you're not giving yourself the time and the focus to look at things in your life that are important to you, you're not going to be able to give your best in your business. That's just a reality. So I'd encourage you to make your personal vision as well, and just think about kind of what life looks like for you as well. Okay, so just a few tips in terms of kind of making that vision. So let's move on to the second one here. We got core values. Louis Gerstner, he was former CEO of IBM. He says, until I came to IBM, I probably would have told you that culture was just one among several important elements in any organization's makeup and success, along with vision, strategy, marketing, financials, and the like. I came to see in my time at IBM that culture isn't just one aspect of the game, it is the game. In the end, an organization is nothing more than the collective capacity of its people to create value. That is a powerful quote. Now, by the way, I just want you to understand that core values creates culture. That's why I chose this quote, because you might be thinking, it doesn't say core values. But core values create your culture, okay? And a lot of people generally have the same feeling about core values as they did about vision. Again, it's like, do we really need that? It's kind of like that feely stuff, that kind of thing. And it can be more than feely stuff, by the way. And you might be wondering, does it really make that much difference? Absolutely, 100% makes a huge difference. As Mr. Gerstner here said, he has come to learn, and those of us that have been around for some time and seen businesses that are not successful and seen businesses that are successful understand the value of core values. It's powerful. You need them, okay? What's important to understand is that people are productive not because you tell them to, but because they feel an affinity with the company they work for. They believe in it. They feel part of it. They feel something that catapults them into action. And that's that commonality. That's that coming together, right? The point is that we are emotional beings, no matter how you slice it and whether you show the emotion or not, we are. If we don't feel good about something, there's no productivity. If we feel great about something, then there's lots of productivity. This is why core values are so important. Core values define who you are as a company, how you do things. Your core values are your non-negotiables. They're the things that are most important to you. Now, what you need to understand is that if what you think is most important is in line with what your team thinks is most important, then that creates synergy. Having clear core values is going to allow you to choose and attract people to be part of your team that are in line with what you feel is most important, right? That synergy, right, that feels good, it creates energy, and therefore it leads to more productivity. Danny Mayer said, it's the job of any business owner to be clear about the company's non-negotiable core values. They're the riverbanks that help guide us as we refine and improve on performance and excellence. A lack of riverbanks creates estuaries and cloudy waters that are confusing to navigate. I want a crystal clear, swiftly flowing river. I love that imagery, right? So just picture that slow moving cloudy river versus that clear, fast moving river. Which one you want to be, right? You might feel right now like you're in that cloudy river, right? Because I know that a lot of business owners that I meet, that's exactly how they feel. Things are cloudy, things are rough, they're not moving, right? And that's just draining, okay? But now imagine being in a place where you feel more like that clear, swiftly moving stream, right? Now, what I'm going to suggest to you is that building these components that we're talking about into your business is going to help you do just that. There's some work involved, but 100% worth the effort. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. Team. Now, we could spend days on this, but we won't in this case. But team begins with who you choose, right? The first thing about choosing is looking for the right things. Now, I've seen this constantly when I go in and I'm working with a business. A lot of times when I look at their hiring process and even sit in on some interviews and things like that, the focus is typically on their experience and their skills. Now, I'm not suggesting that that stuff's unimportant. However, I am going to suggest that oftentimes it's less important besides maybe some very, very specific roles. The reality is oftentimes you want to be looking at the more intangible things. Who are they, right? Are they a person of integrity? Are they honest? Are they hardworking? Are they ethical? Are they open to criticism? Do they want to grow? Like all these intangible things are going to be essential in you choosing the right people. And for me, every day, I'd rather take someone that fits those things, but yet maybe doesn't have quite the experience and skills I need because I know I can build that person into that. So it's just really important that you're focusing on the right things when you're looking to build your team. The other thing that's really important, and this is the part that a lot of people miss, and this is the part typically I have to work with businesses on a lot, is you need to be the type of business that would attract the right people. Because I'll go into business sometimes and I'm like, man, I don't get it. I can't find these good people. There's no good people out there. I don't get it. And I look at their business and I'm like, listen, do you think those type of people want to work in this type of environment, right? Because on one breath they're talking to, they're complaining about their team and how they're so dysfunctional and all these things, and then I'm like, okay, well, who wants to walk into that? Well, definitely not your A players, right? So you need to be the type of business that's going to attract those types of people. So a lot of times when I walk into a business and they're talking, well, we want to expand our team, we need better people, I'll say to them, okay, well, you need to slow down. And first, you need to implement some things, because until you put these things in place, you're not going to be in a position to bring those people on. Super, super important to understand that, okay? I'll get into that more if we end up working together, whatever. But that's a super important thing that a lot of people miss. So the other thing though is once we find them, then we need to invest in them with training, right? So it's not like we found them, good, we're good, we're good. No, we got to start training them, right? We got to consistent check-ins. We got to make them feel like they're part of the team. We got to feel like they are important to us, and they should be important to us, not just making them feel that way. We want to equip them to be the best that they can be. Right? We want to equip them to be better than us, right? Because a lot of the struggles that business owners have is, oh, well, I can do it better, right? And they get into this mentality and they're wearing a million hats and they're struggling with delegating, which I have a whole section on delegating. And you want to get to the point where you're like, man, this guy, this girl, like they rock. I could not do it the way they're doing it. You want to get to a point where every person on your team is like that, right? And the reality is even if they don't quite get there, the reality is 10 people giving 90% towards their one thing is better than one person trying to give 100% towards all 10 of those things, because it won't happen, okay? And that's oftentimes where business owners get caught up, right? They're wearing 500 different hats trying to get stuff done, and it's just not happening, okay? So developing and building up your team is going to be super important. Now, my guess is that you have some team issues. It's extremely rare, if ever, that I've gone into a business that's looking to grow, looking to improve some things, looking to get healthier, where there isn't some team issues, okay? Maybe you said things like, oh, they're just not motivated, or they don't seem to care, or things like that. And that may be the case. But what I'm going to suggest and I'm going to challenge you with is thinking that maybe it's not them, right? Maybe there's some other things that you need to put in place to kind of help them break out of that, okay? The reality is you are where you are as a result of kind of who you are and what you know and understand and what you've implemented at this point. That's a reality, okay? And so it's time to, again, turn some things around, all right? And your team certainly can help you do that. The difference between success and failure is a great team. All right, this is short and it's powerful and it's extremely, extremely true. You need to find and attract the right team, and then you need to invest in your team. It's going to take time. It's going to take energy. Sometimes we feel like it's easier, I'll just do it myself. That is a 100% roadblock for growth and success. Okay, so got to find that team and you got to build that team. All right, fourth, systems and processes. All right, this is basically how you do what you do. All right, it defines specifically how you're going to do each aspect of your business, or how someone's going to do each aspect of your business, right? And it's essential to have a clear process in place for clarity. The thing is, if you don't have this in place, people are going to start doing it their own way. There's going to be confusion, because this is the thing, is the output is going to be different every time, and then you never really know what to expect. They think they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Someone else thinks they should be doing it another way, and it's just a mess, right? Systems and processes, ultimately, they create flow in a business, and without flow, things don't move, right? There's clogs, and it creates major confusion, frustration, and issues. Things don't get done. It impacts your bottom line. Now, if you find yourself frustrated because something doesn't get done the way you expect it to, then likely you don't have good systems and processes in place. And I will say that, again, a lot of businesses I walk into do not. Maybe they'll have one or two here and there, but oftentimes they don't. And understand, this is putting a process in place. This is more than just saying to someone one time, hey, this is how you should do this, and then just walking away. This is something you really think through, you really implement, you write it down, you document it, and it becomes known to everyone, so that no matter who's doing it, it's done the same way, and there's consistency. Okay, and you need this for every aspect of your business. I remember this one company that I was working on one time, and I generally don't get a lot of specifics about the business I work with. I'm huge on confidentiality, but this was it was an industrial plumbing company, so it was a larger industrial plumbing company, and so I came in to work with them. And as we kind of went through, there's a lot of areas to work on, but there was this one, in terms of system processes, there was nothing in place. There was literally nothing in place. And they were talking about wanting to grow. And I was just like, listen, you cannot grow unless you put some things in place, because right now there's not clarity. And one of the things he was talking about, the frustration, is just the frustration of what happens on the work site, how things are done differently each day, depending on who's doing them. Also, and that's why I said, okay, well, is there a defined process? Like, do you have something that every day at work site, I understand that the work's going to be different at different sites, but there are certain things that everyone needs to do, and there's a certain order to doing certain things. There's something that you do at the beginning of the day, there's something you do at the end of the day, and there's certain things that you should be doing throughout the day in terms of the way that you do it, or the process. And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, and he just hadn't really thought about it. And then we started putting it together, and we came up with a really good system process for the day for at a work site, right? And it really can help with that flow. Okay, so that's just one small example, but again, you got to be doing that in many different areas, right? Another good example a lot of times is if you have like an onboarding process for clients or whatever. Do you have that written down? Do you have, okay, here's the specific questions you should ask, this is who should get the information, this is the next steps? Do you have that stuff in place? Okay, now if you're looking to kind of implement some of this stuff, a few things that you want to be thinking about. Okay, so some steps to kind of forming those systems and processes. The first one, what's your goal? Right, what are you trying to accomplish? What's the end result that you desire? Right, where you're trying to go in this specific process. Then you need to ask yourself, what steps need to take place to reach that goal? So here's, the end goal, and now what is it going to take to get there? Then who's going to do each of those steps? How are they going to do them? And who should know about that, right? Who should this information be going to? And then assess and tweak as needed. All right, and that's a simple kind of breakdown of that, but this gives you kind of a general sense of how you should be implementing some of this stuff, okay? All right, so this quote here comes from KissFlow's website. It says, a process forms the lifeline for any business and helps it streamline individual activities and make sure that resources are put to their optimum use. I love the top there, process forms the lifeline for any business. And, what does this look like for you? What happens if you don't clean things up and build your own systems and processes? My guess is there'll be a lot of conflict, frustration, inconsistency, stagnation, or maybe even start to deteriorate. The reality is Business owners, they end up closing their doors to their business because they never learned how to build a productive work environment, productive team. They never learned to put these systems and processes in place. And, I obviously hope that you don't let that be you, okay? Now, so we've talked through a few things so far. So we've talked through our vision, we've talked through core values, we've talked through team, we've talked through systems and processes. We've covered 4 so far. Now, each one, we've discussed how it can paralyze your business. And each one of these literally can paralyze your business. And so the question is, what happens if you don't work on these things? Well, you stay right where you are, or perhaps it gets worse. And I'm not trying to, I don't want to play around with you, but that's a reality, and I see it every day, and I'm sure you do as well. But what happens if you do? What if you decide to invest in these things? Right, and this is just the 4, just vision, core values, team, system, practice. Just imagine if you just took and you implemented just what we talked about, just for these 4 things. It's going to be powerful, right? And this is just the first 4 of 10. And don't worry, I'll get you the rest. I'm going to send you some videos to get the rest, but this is all we're going to have time for today is these 4. But I want to give you the chance to really commit to implement this stuff, because it's one thing to have content and knowledge. It's another thing to put it into practice and to actually do it. All right. So yes, I have the Crazy Productive program, which I already mentioned, and I want to invite you to be part of this program if that's something you're interested in. So if what I've been talking about, it's making sense, it's clicking for you, then maybe this is something that you might be interested. Now, this is for a small group of people, specifically for business owners. I do this program with teams within businesses and corporation things, but this offer specifically is for business owners or CEOs. All right. Now, it's a 3-month program focusing specifically on and implementing productivity in your business. All right. We're going to walk through each area very clearly and specifically, and then we're going to discuss how to practically implement this in your business. And this is the key, right? Again, it's one thing, as I said, to have the content, have the knowledge, another to have someone. And listen, you got to make a decision about what you're looking to do. So you need to really ask yourself, what happens if you don't do this? What happens if you do? Do you want to stay where you are? I remember one business I worked with, a guy brought me in, and he had been in business, I think, for like 7 or 8 years. Was in a place where he was really struggling, really frustrated, nicest guy in the world, and had some good people there. However, things were absolutely a mess. And what's funny is when he first brought me in, he brought me in saying he wanted to focus on marketing. And I was like, that's fine. I said, okay. I said, how about this? I said, and I do this with every business, because oftentimes what we think is the problem sometimes is not. So I said, that's fine. I said, but let me come in and let me just kind of do an assessment of where you're at. I'll meet with you. I'll meet with a few of your leaders. And we'll kind of do an assessment of kind of where you're at and what I think. So as I did that, I began to realize that this business was a mess. Again, nicest people in the world, but it was a mess. There was absolutely no productivity, not because, and this example shows perfectly what I'm talking about. It's not because they weren't good people. It's not because they weren't smart people. It's not because they even wanted results. They wanted good things to happen for the business. Even the team itself wanted that, but they just were not. The components that I talk about in this program, they weren't doing those things. The team was all over the place. There was no clarity. The systems and processes were a mess, right? And so I said, listen, that's fine. We can work on some marketing stuff, but we have to get to work on this piece. If we don't, it's not going to matter how much marketing we do. We can get people in the door, right? But once they get here, if they experience what I'm seeing, it's not going to go well. So we started to focus more on productivity. And within 6 to 8 months, we had a 33% growth in revenue, okay? Because we focused on the right thing. Again, I want to help you do that same thing. I want to help you focus on the #1 growth factor in your business, and that 100% is productivity. Now, here's what's included in this. First, I'm going to send you content every single week. So every week you'll get a video similar to this, but obviously a lot more detailed, and breaking down each and every piece of this Crazy Productive program in terms of the components of productivity. Okay, so each week you'll get a content video. Now, The content, as I said, is important, but we want to be able to implement this. So also what you're going to do is you're going to get a crazy productive worksheet to apply everything you're learning. So every video will have a worksheet that goes with it that you can kind of work through and practically think, how am I going to implement this in my business? Okay. Very important that the practical piece happens. You're also going to have a small group coaching session 4 times a month. Okay, now this isn't a large group of 50, 100 people, because this is what other coaches do, right? And it's just Q&A and only a few people take advantage of it. This is, you are here in this session. There's 8 to 12 of you in a group, okay? And we're going to meet once a week. And that'll allow us to really dive in even deeper on the content that you've learned, talking about as you're building your plan. We can kind of strategize together. We can brainstorm. We can think through this. And I can tell you from my own experience, and this is something that helped me, because by the way, I've experienced a lot of coaching myself. And back a while ago now, I had this experience where I got to be in something similar to this, and it was just super, super, super powerful. There's nothing like being around like-minded business owners who are all trying to grow. Super, super powerful. So we're going to do that 4 times a month. And then also going to give you unlimited email coaching as you need it. So for example, so you get the content, you watch the video, you're doing your worksheet. We have our small group coaching session. You kind of talk about how you're going to implement. And then, maybe reach out to me, hey, I'm trying to do this. Can you give me some advice? And I'll get back to you, right? And I'll get back to you. Other thing you're going to use email for is I'm going to be asking after every group session, I'm going to be asking everyone to send me kind of, okay, what's your action plan based upon this meeting? What's your action plan? And then I'm also going to ask you to email me before every session and let me know, give me an update. Let me know how you've been doing. Okay. So this is, I really want to show that you do the work. And that's the thing is some of you are like, oh, I don't know if I really want to do, that's great. This isn't for you. Okay. Because if you're not ready to do the work, then it's not going to get done. Right. So, and it's not like this isn't like some unsurmountable amount of work. You have one meeting a month, and then you're watching a video once a week. And, so it's not unsurmountable, but it's super important to me. What is most, I want to see results, and that's why I make sure I'm involved, so we can do that. All right. You're also going to have a private Facebook group. This is going to be just for your group, that 8 to 12. It's just, again, share ideas, struggles, victories, whatever. I find it can be really, really helpful just for maybe you're trying something and you just want to get other people's ideas. Because remember, you're going to have 8 to 12 other business owners in there who they've tried some different things. So that collective information and knowledge can be really, really helpful. I do have in there, just no selling. So please, this is not an opportunity to sell your services to those 8 to 12 people. You will be kicked out of the group immediately, and I usually don't have any issues with this. Okay, if you see someone in the group who you think can help you, you can reach out to them, but not the other way around. Okay, we're not selling our service. We're not doing any of that stuff in that group. Okay, and this is private just for your group. All right, so that's what's included. So it's pretty much, I'm giving you everything. All right, and there's no way you can walk through this and not be impacted by that. All right, there's just absolutely no way. Now, here's some things that are important to me that I got to make sure. First, you must be the owner or CEO of a real business with real revenue. Okay, this is for that. If you're in a different place, hey, sure, get in touch with me. Maybe we can work something out. But that is super, super important. All right, specifically for this to work well. You must really want to grow your business. That's obvious, but there's got to be motivation there. Super important. And you got to be committed to this program. $10 sessions, do the work. Again, this is not some really kind of light, I'm just giving you some content and I don't really care what you do. I do care what you do. That's how I work. I want to make sure you grow. I'm committed to that. And so I want to make sure that happens. So that means you need to be committed to the program. You need to be willing and excited to help other business owners in the group, right? Because although primarily you're there for your own growth, I get that. But when we're doing those group coaching sessions and stuff, we have that Facebook group stuff. If you can help, I want you to help, right? And I think it's fun, right? I find that a lot of people that are part of things like this, they actually really enjoy that part a lot. So just, you can't be completely self-focused. You got to make sure you're there to serve others as well. And then you got to commit it to confidentiality. I'm huge on confidentiality, all those things, integrity, all that. That's huge, huge, huge for me. So you got to be committed to that. And so that's kind of a no-brainer in there. All right. So now I want you to understand that, so if you do have a legitimate business and you can check all those boxes that I just mentioned, then the ROI on this, the return on investment on this, is going to be astronomical, right? So if you have a legitimate business that's pulling in money, right, and you're going to invest in this, it's 100% a no-brainer in terms of that you're going to get. It like literally almost, I would say, is impossible to go through this for 3 months and not get a significant return on investment. Okay, so it's just, I mean, literally, you find one really good idea and implement that, you're gonna see a huge return. Okay, so if you are interested, then we just need to jump on the phone to ensure it's a good fit. All right, so basically the steps are, there's a button right here, it should be below here, right? And you're gonna just click that button. When you click that button, you'll be taken to my calendar. You'll choose a time for us to get on the phone. That's just for me just to make sure that it's a good fit both ways. I just want to make sure, clarify anything for you. And again, for me, just making sure that you're a good fit for this group. Once you do that, you'll be taken to just a short questionnaire. Just lets me know a little bit about your business so that when we get on the phone, it'll allow us to kind of be a little bit more productive with that time. So I need you to fill that out. That is very important. If you do not fill out that questionnaire, I'll cancel your call until you do, because I need that information. Okay. And then you'll attend that session. We'll get on the phone and we'll talk. I actually do it through Zoom, but don't worry about that. And then, once we get on the call, if everything seems to be a good fit, we'll get you all signed up and get you to go. This can happen pretty quickly. There should be room in my calendar to get you in there in the next, hopefully, 48 hours or so. So hopefully we can get you all set and going. All right. So that's all you got to do right now is you just go ahead and click that button to get started. I do hope to be talking to you soon, and more importantly, I look forward to seeing you implement these things and experience significant growth, and ultimately because your business has become crazy productive, right? All right. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you on the inside. I appreciate your time. And again, I really, really, really look forward to helping you take your business to the next level. All right. Thanks so much.